If you're an entrepreneur and you're renting space for your business, you gotta listen to this because I will show you how you can invest strategically in the space of your operation, in the building that you occupy, and double your money or quadruple your investment in 5 to 10 years. My name is Rafik Moore. I'm the principal and founder of Brait Capital, a real estate investment company with over 5 million square feet of industrial, retail, and other real estate assets. So listen, I'll be happy to demonstrate to you how as a tenant, you can pivot and make a lot of money. Mainly, this program is for my tenants. So if you're my tenant, please listen until the end because I have a bonus for you, okay? But for those of you who are not my tenants, first of all, please be my tenant. I got buildings all over the country. However, if you're not my tenant, talk to your landlords and try to make money by utilizing this little one pivot, all right? Here's the thing. Most importantly, when you rent your real estate, you are making your landlord rich. You know that already. Your landlord knows it. Guess what? It's the lay of the land. So all of the people that I know that are my tenants, they're like, man, I wish I owned real estate, but I don't know how to. I don't want to deal with tenants. I don't want to deal with maintenance. And I don't know, maybe I'll outgrow the space. So every time I meet them, I said, look, I would love for you to be my investor. So I always invite my tenants to be investors in my deals. Why? They're the best partners because they're there every day. They have eyes and ears. They see what's going on. They will never leave, hopefully. Plus, we always buy larger assets, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. So they will always get priority in moving and expanding. If they want to move out of the building, I have a very clean buy-sell agreement to where if they left, they'll get their money back through some sort of a buyout agreement. And I work with many other investors that are not my tenants. But tenants as investors are actually even better. I will demonstrate to you how by owning your own real estate, you can double or quadruple your investment, all right? For this exercise, I'm gonna talk about $1 million property so that it's a very simple math, all right? So $1 million property value is $1 million. And let's say you occupy it. Now, you can multiply that by 5, by 10. Some of our properties are worth $15 million. And all we're gonna do is chunk it down. If you own 10% of the $10 million building, the equity is very consistent. It's gonna be very, very consistent. So here's what happens, all right? You buy a $1 million property, you need to put equity, down payment in the amount of $250,000 if it's an investment property. I'm assuming that I'm the buyer and you are my tenant, right? But here's where the magic happens. If equity is $250,000, if you buy the property, then you actually can do SBA financing up to $5 million to where you only have to put 10% down. So your equity goes down significantly. And then the SBA will also give you some guarantees helping you to procure financing. But let's just, for the sake of the argument, do this. And then, so debt on the property is gonna be $750,000. I want you guys to understand, if I own a property for $1 million, and if I put 250 grand down, and if I have debt of 750,000, you as a tenant have to pay at least 125% of my mortgage payment, or this is not gonna be approved by a bank. On average, I try to get 150% or even 200%. In other words, if I'm paying $5 grand a month in mortgage payments on this thing, I try to charge $10,000, but at least $6,250 I think is what it comes out to be. It's called debt service coverage ratio at a minimum. Remember that number, okay? You will use that number everywhere else. So in other words, for every $100 of mortgage, I gotta collect $125 of net rents, not including operating expenses. I always want to talk about a property at an 8 cap. Now, 8 cap for some of you who live in Florida and California and Texas, it's like really good deal, right? But we do everything in Midwest at 8 pref, plus we do value add real estate. Everything I do is gonna be valued at about an 8 cap because we're talking about retail and industrial assets. If you own this property, you park $250,000. If you don't own this property, you're gonna pay rent of at least 125% of my mortgage payment. So let me do the math here quick. If I have $1 million property, I have $750,000 loan, my payment to the bank at 6% rate, and 25-year AM is gonna be $4,832. So let's call it $5,000. So my mortgage payment is $5,000 roughly. At 8 cap, my NOI has to be $80,000. And $80,000, your rent to me provided this is 8-cap deal, is going to be $6,667. If you pay me $6,667, triple net, and then you pay all the expenses as my tenant, at 8-cap, this building is worth $1 million. I hope you're tracking. I know it's a little complicated math here for some of you. By the way, if you're interested in learning how to understand this, how to underwrite, I have a full educational program for entrepreneurs, for brokers, for investors. Please click on the link below, DM me, and I'll be happy to dial you in and connect you. We'll be happy to teach you how this magic works. This is how you make millions of dollars in real estate. Debt service coverage ratio right here is gonna be 80,000 divided by 60,000. 80,000 is my cap NOI, and my mortgage payments, debt service, annual, because 5,000 is 60,000, which means cash flow that I get is 20,000 per year, okay? So my debt service coverage ratio in this scenario is 1.33, which basically will get my loan approved. We're talking about $1 million property, talking about $250,000 in equity that I put in. We're talking about $750,000 of debt, and debt service coverage ratio is 1.3. You are my tenant, or you are a tenant in another space. You pay $6,600. The landlord pays $5,000, and landlord makes about $1,600 a month in rents. The entire presentation is to show you, a tenant, how to get involved here, okay? Most of the investors, us included, we raise this capital, right, to do this deal. We raise this, and we pay investors some kind of a preferred return plus a part of the upside. What I'm offering to my investors is to get in and be my investor, so I don't have to put in $250,000. Many times you say, Rafik, I don't even need you. I just want to buy the property. Well, in that case, I'll sell it to you. I'll make a little bit of profit. You own it. Usually, I buy properties less than $1 million. 8-pref is when I sell them. However, let's assume this is a large asset and you occupy 50% of it, and you don't want to manage it. What you should do is ask me or your landlord to invest in the deal. What I'm going to do to my tenants, I will ask my tenants to invest in my deal, and I will value the property at 8 cap. What happens is the $750,000 over the course of 5 years gets reduced. Over the course of 10 years, it gets reduced. Plus, because of inflation, because of other things, the value of the property goes up. And value of the property is a byproduct of the rent it collects. Well, I can tell you one thing. Very likely, you are getting 3% or 4% bumps on your rents. Plus, every time people move, they increase the rents, improve the property. I would assume the property goes up by 3% per year. And I would assume that the amortization is, in 2026, I borrowed $750,000. In 2031, 5 years later, I have $641,000. And then, by the way, in 10 years, $558. You have a $750,000 mortgage today. 5 years later, your mortgage is $641. 10 years later, your mortgage is $558 on this property. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to talk to ChatGPT. I want to do it myself. If I have a property that's worth $1 million today and the value increases by 3% per year, what is going to be the value of the property in 5 years? And what is going to be the property in 10 years? Please tell me.
To project that, we'll apply compound growth. After 5 years, the value would be the current amount multiplied by 1.03 raised to the 5th power. After 10 years, it would be the current amount multiplied by 1.03 raised to the 10th power. In 5 years, that gives roughly 1 million multiplied by about 1.159. So the property would be about $1,159,000. In 10 years, it would be 1 million multiplied by about 1.34. So the property would be about $1,343,000. So
you heard it. Your mortgage has gone down in 5 years to $641 from $750. The value has gone up to $1,159,000. In 10 years, it's $1,330,000. Let's assume you invested $100,000 of your money in this deal. With a $100,000 investment into this deal, I'll show you how much your $100,000 is going to be worth in 5 years and 10 years. I'm going to delete all of these information because I'm going to put the projected value of your shares. I want you guys to understand the formula And the system of how millionaires make money, or most people build wealth in real estate. You know, they say, buy real estate and wait. It's over time, with tax benefits, with amortization of debt, and with appreciation of the asset, boom, magic happens. 5 years later, here's a scenario. Your property value is $1,159,000. Your debt is $641,000. So the equity is now $518,000. Basically, here's what happens. I bought the property for $1 million, or we bought it, me and you, or we valued it at $1 million ACAP. Now the property is worth 1.159. The debt is 641,000. The equity now is 518. If you remember, the equity in the beginning was only 250,000, which means the equity now just doubled. Now here's what I do with my tenants, and I'd love for you to be my tenant. I would sell you proportionate amount to your space in the building. I mean, I could have you invest more, but why? Let's say you own 50% of the building, okay? And if you own 50% of the building, if you're a tenant in a 50% of my building, I would sell you 50% of the shares, so you will be my investor. Day one, I asked you to give me $125,000 for those shares. You gave me $125,000, and 50% of the shares are yours. You own those shares, right? Now, total value of the shares now, 5 years later, is $518,000. This is not inclusive of the cash flow that we've been splitting for 5 years, 50-50. You follow? This is just the equity. Now we decide to sell it. We have transaction costs. You just doubled your money because you get 50% of $518,000. Either you're gonna keep paying rent. I keep collecting rents. I'm $518,000 at the end of 5 years is mine to spend. So I'll go buy myself a Ferrari. I'll be driving a Ferrari, thinking about you. When I made you an offer to invest in the deal, why don't you invest? Let you have a Ferrari, I have a Ferrari. 2 Ferraris for $250. Although Ferrari is now more expensive. Let's talk about a 10-year property value in 10 years is $1,333,000, right? And then the debt in 10 years is $558. So let me tell you what is the equity in 5 years. Of course, all of us, me, you, I want you to stay in that building and basically stay there for 20 years and we could retire together, we sell it, we'd have no debt. But let's assume 10 years later, you're like, look, Rafik, let's get out of here, let's buy a bigger building. We are selling the building now. We sold it for 1.33. By the way, just so you know, in the last 10 years, the building's doubled in value. So when I say 3%, it's the lowest percentage it's gonna grow by. In reality, the real inflation, guys, is about 8 to 10%, even though they tell you it's 3%. So the value of the property will be double. Your mortgage is gonna be stuck at $558 because amortization is gonna be followed. $772,000. In 10 years, this building is gonna be worth 1.33, even though in reality, it's probably gonna double in value, but we're gonna use the conservative approach. Mortgage is gonna be $558,000, and you will have equity of $772,000. You put in $125,000, your $125,000 now turned into $386,000 of value, and for 10 years, you've been receiving 50% of the cash flow. 50% of the cash flow is 10 grand a year. 10 grand a year for 10 years is 100,000, right? Here you received plus $50,000 of cash flow. So ultimately, here's what's up, guys. In this exercise, I just want to show you that if you invest in a building and you are lucky enough to buy it at 8 cap and you put proportionate amount to the value in the equity, now here's what I'm gonna do. I just visited Grant Cardone's event and he offers all of his tenants an opportunity to invest. And I sat there and I was like, man, bingo, I have the best way, number one, to hook up my tenants with partnering with us on these deals. But secondly, to get more liquidity. Because the biggest problem I have as a business investor is I'm always rich on equity and poor on cash. But over long term, if I stick to my strategy, I'll be extremely wealthy. Well, guess what? I don't want to be wealthy in 10 years, 100 years, 20 years. I want to have a little bit of cash today, and I want to keep continuing to add value. So I'm going to invite you, my tenant, into this business so we can do these deals together. Or if you are a tenant and looking for space, call me. We'll do a deal like this. I'll be happy to do everything. I'll find the property, we'll stabilize it, we'll fix it, whatever. If it's a single tenant property, probably you don't need me. You can just do it yourself. But if it's a multi-tenant building, let's say it's a 100,000 square foot property and you need 10,000 square feet for your business, or if it's a shopping center and you have a restaurant, what we'll do is we'll buy the building together, we'll repair it, create value, but mainly I would like to invest my tenants' money into the buildings we own together so we can create that joint profitability for all of us, right? And I'm not the only guy with the capital in the deal, especially if my tenants are partners in the building. Hopefully they'll never leave. So they'll be raving fan tenants. And Cardone's like, when I'm raising rents on these guys, guess what? They don't care because the value goes up by significant amount. How about alignment of interests? The main point of this video, if you are a self-employed a guy who needs a property, or gal, if you are self-employed, you should own your own real estate, because whatever money you invest into your real estate with appreciation, with amortization of debt, and assuming lowest ways it's going to appreciate, your equity is going to double in 5 years or quadruple in 10 years. Plus you get tax benefits. I didn't even talk about that. Plus you get cash flow. If you are interested in collaborating with us, we do industrial, retail, we do truck stops, we do restaurants. If you're interested in working with us, please contact me. I'll be happy to connect with you. My goal is to elevate and create a plain level field for everybody. You see, the game is rigged. Guys like me are making millions of dollars, and you work at your restaurant, work at your a grocery store, whatever the business you run, you never get the benefits of this, right? And the real estate is the biggest asset class, $55 trillion of real estate in the United States, and it's the best way to build long-term wealth. You can actually leave real estate to your children. You can sell it and cash out and give them cash if you want to, but my kids are going to be stuck with real estate. I never want to sell, especially if I have good tenants like you. Having said that, I hope you got value out of this. Please like and subscribe. We are here. We are Value Add Network. My company is also called Brait Capital, where I do deals, but Value Add Network is a community of real estate investors, tenants, brokers, agents. I want to bring everybody together. I want to create win-win situations so everybody wins. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, always adding value.